Okay. Okay, let me start for a few minutes. Let me delete it. Okay, we are again recording it. We'll just want to start it again. So I'll delete it here. Remove the project. Okay, I've deleted it. So how do we construct a project? Okay, so to open a SOAP UI, click on the Start SOAP UI over here. I'm repeating it because to have it on the recording one. Okay, so Start SOAP UI. So there is a Windows box gets opened over here. As soon as this opens, the tool gets opened over here. Okay, so this is how the tool would look like. Now you want to create a project for this one on this tool. You have to find out a WSDL file. So the sample WSDL files are available in Krishna website, software testing, web services SOAP UI. Click on that link, software testing, web services SOAP UI. So you can click on web services for US postal codes and cities, or there is another one called stock quote web service. So these are the sample ones are there. There are lots of other ones are also there. We'll talk about it later. So when you open the WSDL file, this is how a WSDL file would look at. Okay, this is for the stock code and this is for the postal address. What you have to take is, take that file, copy that one, go into the SOAP UI tool. Okay, okay, it's getting. Okay, so go to the tool. There is an option called create a new SOAP UI project. Create a new SOAP UI project. You can select this one, or you can, under the file there is a new SOAP UI project. You can do it from anywhere. Okay, so do that one. Give some name for this project name, batch 182 stock quote, and paste that WSDL here. Paste that WSDL here. Sorry. Paste that WSDL here. And by default, create a sample request for all operations would be selected. Select that one. Okay, select that one and select this create test suite. Create test suite. Select that option also. Create a test suite for imported WSDL. So it will create tests for each of the operations in the project. So select that one, click on OK. As soon as I do that one, so it will talk about generate test suite. Generate test suite. It will talk about like what all the operations are there. Do you want to create operations for all project for all these operations? You can select all of them by default and click on OK. This is saying that generate test suite. Click on OK. So enter the name of the test suite to create. By default that name got created as a 1-2 test suite. Click on OK. Again it is saying that generate test suite. Again it is asking. This window shouldn't come again. Okay, but with this version, whatever this version that we are working, we have a issue with the SOAP UI Pro. Okay, with the latest versions we don't have it. Click on OK. It gets a name as just the SOAP test suite. Click on OK. So this is how a project is created. What I was trying to say is just go ahead and delete the project that got created with 1-2 and test suite that got created with 1-2. It is not required. Those are the duplicate entries. So right click it, remove. Yes. Right click it, remove. Basically we should have only these two sub entries, one with the project for each of the operations and another one with the test suite for all those operations. Clear? Now expand the project for the request. So in this one, I have three operations. One is get quick quote, get quote data set. These are the operations that are available in this WSDL file. In this WSDL file. Control F, search for that one. Get quick quote. You can see this name. This is an operation. Get quick quote. You can see that operation here in get quick quote over here. If you expand that operation, it will say what is this request is about. Double click on that one. By default, it will open in the form mode. This mode is available only in the professional version, not on the open source one. Okay. If you are working with the professional version, by default you will get a form like this. But if you are working on open source, you have to work on an XML mode. So those modes are available on this left menu. One is XML, raw, outline, form. Okay. With the professional version, you have this form. So click on the XML. This will talk about the definitions that we have it. The nodes, parents and children. All those details are mentioned. What we need to provide in the request. If you provide the request in this particular format, then only you will get the request. Sorry, you will get the response. And this particular information is available where? In WSDL file. Under get quick quote, it would talk about those all these details. Okay. If we have experience, if we have expertise in the XML language, we can get all those details through this WSDL file. Okay. If you are not sure about this entire thing, if you are not able to figure out what's happening over here, you can take that WSDL, create a project. It will talk about how many operations are there, and for each operation, how a request needs to be built. Clear about it now? Now, this is how the request would be created. Similarly, when I open get quote, double click on this one. I'm opening a get quote request for now. Click on the XML. Again, it's a stock symbol, some license key, some information is there. Again, get quote data set. Double click it. XML. I have again stock symbol, license key. It's the same request that is sending out for all those three things, but response might be a different. We will see what is the response. Okay. This is how an operation, and for each operation, how a request is available. Okay. Now let's expand the test suite for this. We have created a test suite for each of these operations. So go back, expand that one, test suite. Expand the test case for the get quick quote. Okay, we have a test suite. Under the test suite, we have a test case for each of the operation. So expand that one. Again, under the test case, we have a test step. Test step. Under the test step, we have a get quick quote SOAP request. Okay. I'll close all of them here. So there is a test suite. Test suite has the test cases for all the operations. So there are three operations. There will be three test cases under that test suite, because one test case for each of the operation. So that's why we have a test case, and test case. Three test cases. Under test case, we have test step. There is only one request, right? For get quick quote, there is only one request. So that request is coming under as a test step. For example, for this get quick quote, there are two requests. Let's assume if we have two requests, then there will be two test steps over here. If it has only one request, we will get only one test step. Clear about this classification category? We have a test suite. Test suite has a test cases in it. For test case, test suite can be mapped with the project. Test case is mapped with the operation. Test step is mapped with the request. If we have one request, we have one test step. We have one operation. For one operation, we have one test case. and that test case is provided in the test suite. Clear? So expand this one, get quick quote. It would be the same. Whatever the information that you have clicked on the request, when you double clicked on the request on the operation side, or if you click on the double click on the get quick quote under the test step, it would be the same. The reason we are not providing the details here to get the get quote is we don't want, this is a template. This would work as a template for you. And based on that template, you can create any number of test cases. You can create any number of test suite. Okay. So if you want to get a sample stock quote for a particular company, you have to provide the actual value over here. So you have to provide the stock symbol over here. So there is a question mark over here, right? There is a question mark. Remove that one. Provide Apple. For Apple, you shouldn't type entire thing as an apple. There is a, for each company stock quote, there is a symbol there in the NASDAQ. For Facebook, it is FB. This is FB. Similarly for Apple, I think it is AAPL. That's the stock quote. Okay. Take that quote, provide it here, AAPL. Just provide that one. Forget about this license key. The license key is available. This particular value is available when you are working with the professional version. Okay. If you are not working with the professional version, this license key field will not be available. Okay. So provide that stock symbol AAPL. Okay. Provide that stock symbol AAPL, and there is a submit request. Submit request. Before submitting the request, as soon as I provide this Apple on this stock symbol, let's see how the XML got changed. Click on the XML tab here. See? Apple got changed with the, sorry, the question mark got changed with the Apple. If you take a look at the request, how exactly it would be is, it would be something like in the stock symbol, there is a question mark here. There is a question mark here. As soon as I updated in the form AAPL, the XML stock symbol got updated with AAPL. AAPL. So if you are not working with the professional version, this is where you need to provide the value, AAPL. Since we have a utility for the professional version, it's just kind of a form. On top of XML, we have created a form so that the users can, it is a user friendly. Rather than working with XML, it is a form created on top of the XML where you can provide the values. So either you can provide it in the XML here instead of question mark, you can provide the value here, or if the form is available, provide the value here. Clear until now? How to provide the values?
In open SOAP UI, we have to provide AAPL in XML sheet.
In this XML tag, if you don't have the form. If you download one SOAP UI on your local machine, not with this version, you don't see this form.
Yeah.
This tab will not be there. This tab will not be there.
Yeah.
So you have to always work with this XML. So in the XML, provide instead of Apple, if you want Facebook, if as soon as I type Facebook, FB, take a look at the form. It would be FB. It got changed. Okay. This is just to give you a, or to give the testers or any individual as a utility. They have created a form, means form is nothing but a submission form. They have created a form on top of the XML. Clear?
So now like you put in, so you went to the request and put in the request for FB, right? That's
Yeah, here in the FB. This is called a request. So when you as soon as I click on the double click on it, this panel is called request. We have two panels. So this is the request panel and this is the response panel. This is the request panel and this is the response panel. So I'm still working on the request panel. where I am providing the values either in an XML or in the form anywhere. Okay, I can change it here if I want another one, let's say Microsoft. Okay, I don't know what is the symbol for Microsoft. MSFT? You know about stocks? Okay, so MSFT. So Microsoft. So form MSFT. XML. So that's how the value can be provided. MSFT. So click on the, now as soon as you provide the values, click on the submit request. Click on the submit request to specified endpoint URL. So this is the submitting the request. So if you take a look at this one, as soon as I click on this link, this button, it is sending out the request to this particular location. cdyn.com, delayed stock code, delayed stock code.asmx. Okay, if you take this one, this would be available in your Wisdom. This would be available in your Wisdom. cdyn.com delayed asmx. So that's the location. If you take a look at this one, that's the location. So I'm sending out a request in an XML language with prescribed format that cdyn has provided. I have to hit the location. I have to send out a request now to a location. So in an XML file, in a WSDL file, or in a schema definition, that is defined as a location. Now when you look onto the SOAP UI tool, that is called as an endpoint. This is called as an endpoint. Endpoint is nothing but the location where we need to send the request. Clear about this terms that we are talking over here? So submit a request to specified endpoint URL. As soon as I click on this one, take a look at it. I'm clicking on this one. I get a value called as a 50.16. You can click on the overview. It is 50.16. Let's see whether the value is correct or not. MSFT 50.16. The value for the Microsoft stock is 50.16, and when I have executed the web service is the 50.16. You can either see the response in an XML, see get quick quote result, get quick quote result. Under that tag, under that node, the value is 50.16. Clear?
Why we don't have to provide the license key?
Here it is already, I mean, we already installed it. For example, if the license key, if you want to explicitly mention with the license key, you are working on another machine where the license is not installed, you can take that key, you can provide the license key.
So we are providing license key for the SOAP UI?
SOAP UI, only for this tool. If you take a look at this XML file, you don't see that license key information. After the stock symbol, there is a license key over here. But in an XML, license key is not there. License key.
Oh, it's there. On the same line.
Oh yeah, it's there. No, it's not required. But this is not available. This is not a mandatory parameter for the cdyn. It's not a mandatory parameter for the cdyn. It's a mandatory parameter for the professional version. I mean, the tag is available. There is no need to provide that license key. Just in case if you are working on a virtual machines where the license is not installed but the license is still there, you can provide that license key.
What is that actually? What is that license?
When you install the professional version, you get some key. It is in hexadecimal format, some format, and it will send out that information to your email address or wherever it is. You have to take that key and provide it in on the license key. So it would be something like a 16-digit hexadecimal key. But for now, forget about it. Don't worry that one. No need to provide anything over here. This is not something to do with the web services part. It is something to do with the specific to the SOAP UI tool.
So if we are working on a text file when we browse it, will these parameters will be given by anybody, like for us to test it if it is working or not? Like
Which?
you have mentioned MSFT or AAPR. When you're doing on a text file and something like which one?
I mean, I'm testing now web services for the stock code, right?
Right now, but you said that in a company you won't always have it on a website. I mean, it won't be on the internet, right?
All right. So that's a WSDL file. But this is your test data. This is your test data. Like, for example, in your Krishna training registration, you have to provide the mobile number. So mobile number you are entering in that field. So that's a test data. You can provide any type of test data. So this is called as a test data. Test data. You can provide any value. The test data has to be figured out by the team itself, QA team itself. So this is what, it's a data driven testing. We have the data, we are doing the testing using that data. It's called as a data driven testing. You can provide any value for this one, Microsoft or anything. Let's give like, let's see Facebook. If I want to give FB, click on run. It's 104.07. That's the value. So you can provide any value and you can get the result and you can validate whether the result is correct or not. So that's how a web services testing would be performed. You provide a request, you get a response, you see that response whether it is working fine or not. For example, I don't have the web services for that Krishna training here, but if you take a look at that mobile number, whatever that mobile number, instead of entering into the UI, you will enter in the web service XML here, click on submit, and you will get a Boolean value whether it is yes or no. Mobile yes, mobile no, something, one field. That's how you test it at the service layer, and we call it as a web services testing. When you test through UI, it is called a UI testing. Clear? Clear about the basic how to test the web services? Now let's assume that we'll get further details into this one. Now if I want to, now in the XML, see the value and you see that it's there, but you have to see whether this value is correct or not. This value is correct or not, right? When you are working manually, means I'm submitting it and seeing the value, and I'm validating this value with any other site outside like Google Finance, Yahoo Finance, anywhere, and I'm making sure that whatever the result that they have provided, the CDIN has provided, is correct. That's how I'm manually doing the verification part of it. But if I put it on a automation, I don't execute it manually. Some tool would be executing it manually, and I want to make sure that that information, whatever it is provided, is correct or not. How do I do that? So we call it as a verification part, checkpoint, assertions. In SOAP UI, we call it as assertion. In SOAP UI, we call it as to make sure whatever the result that we got it is a correct result or not. We have to figure out whether the value is correct or not by doing the assertions. So let's take a look at another test case. Get code test case. Let's take a look at the second one. I'll close this one. Stock symbol again. Let's give another one as Citigroup C. Click on execute it. XML. We got, now if you see get quick quote, we just got the value. We just got the value. Now if I submit another operation, get quote would get you the stock symbol, last traded amount. What was the last traded amount? 39.86. When it was traded, how much the stock got changed, how much amount that it got opened in the morning, what was the high during that entire day, what was the low during the entire day, how much of the volume got traded on that particular day, previous closed, what was the stock amount that was closed on the previous day, change percent, company name, quote error. So all those details getting displayed. If you take a look at that previous operation that we did it, we just got a result of it. What is the stock value? So we have multiple requests, multiple operations in this web service where you can get either a quick value of it or some additional details of it. So if I do this one, I get this one. Let's see, get quote dataset. If I do again see here, submit it here, I get some more values, additional details of it. Lot of other values are there. Dataset. Okay. So each operations, what it needs to do and what type of a value needs to be provided in response is described in that XML schema definition, XSD. Okay. So we can work on all those requests, or we can work any on one of the requests, what is our requirement is. But if you are working on a project, you have to work for all those requests. Clear? So we are taking one particular test case, get quote tests and get quote. When I provided that C, I got these values. Okay, I got the value as 39.86 or let's see MSFT, submit it, 50.16. So we have seen that 50.16 value only for that first operation, first request. Now when I am doing it for the second operations, along with that value, I get some more additional details. This is in the response. If you take a look at it in the XML format, I see what is the stock symbol, what is the last traded amount, last traded date, stock change, open amount, day high, day low, stock volume, change percent, previous close, 52-week range, N per sharing, PE ratio, company name, quote error. All additional details are provided in this. For that request, I get this, all these details in this response along with that stock value. Okay. Now I have to make sure that whatever value I am getting it is a correct one or not, is for the correct company or not, is for the correct company or not. So that's where we call it as assertions. So if you take a look at this one, at the bottom one, I know it's very, very tiny, but there is a, at the bottom one, there is an assertions. Assertions is nothing but checkpoint verifications. Checkpoint. You have to verify the response that we have got it, whether that is correct or not.
Checkpoint.
Checkpoint to
Verification.
verify the response. Click on assertion. So as soon as I click on the assertion, I got another panel opened over here. I got a panel opened over here. Okay. Click on add. There is a add an assertion to this item.
I can get the assertion.
Click on get code. Over here.
Get code.
Yeah, you have to be on the get quote request. You shouldn't be on the test step or quote result. You have to on the get code, double click it, then you have to see the assertions.
Now I see request 1, 2 and 3, but then I don't see 3, what do you call the lower part? I don't see 3 test steps or test suites.
This one?
Yeah.
Test suite? I think you haven't selected this option, create test suite. If you select this option, the test suite will be created. So test step, so click on this assertions. As soon as you click on this assertion, this panel would be opened. So click on add an assertion to this item. Add an assertion to this item. Select that one. As soon as you select that one, click on that one, there is a pop-up that gets created. Okay? There is a pop-up that gets created. You can select any type of assertion that you want to have it. JMS, timeout, all those things. But the most widely used one are XPath match. The most widely used one is the XPath match. Okay, so click on this plus item, select an assertion to add, select XPath match, and click on OK. Click on OK. When you add that one, you got a window over here. You got a window over here. There is a select node to validate from the current message. There is an icon, select node to validate from the current message. Select that one. Select that one. You can select any value from here. You can select any child entry. You can select, I want to select, what is the company name? Microsoft Corporation. Microsoft Corporation. Click on OK. Click on OK. Okay. We'll get into further about it, but I'm just want to give you a quick view of what is this assertion is about. Is cancel assertion, remove it. If you want to remove it, select that one and remove this one. So for a request, you got a response. Now I have to validate whether this response is correct or not. To validate the response, I have to make sure that it has to be verified. How I can do it? There is an option called assertion on SOAP UI tool. You have to be on the request. Click on the assertions on the left tab over here. As soon as you click on it, you get a panel over here. Click on add an assertion to this item. Select that one. Okay, select that one. Lot of things are there. Okay, lot of things are there. You need to match you need to select the XPath match. This is the one that you need to select it. XPath match. There should be a status code also. Give me a second. There should be a status of 200. Okay, where is that? Give me 2 minutes, guys. Okay. There should be an HTTP status code. I don't see that. See,
This is a free version now?
what will?
This is a free version or license one?
In the message only. See, this is the HTTP 200. You should be able to validate that one also. Okay. We'll talk about it later. See, when you submit a request, MSFT, this is the response that you have it. Okay, this is the actual response. Now, if you want to look at, say, for every request, if it is a successful, means what is this request? This request is going through HTTP protocol. Okay, through HTTP, the valid statuses are, if it is successful, the valid status is 200 across for every HTTP request, not only in the SOAP UI. For every HTTP request, the valid status is, if it is successful, it is always 200. If it is not successful, it has a 500. Okay. Now, to find out whether we got a valid status or not, if it is successful or not, to figure out that one, click on the headers tab. See, there is a headers over here. There is a headers over here. Click on that headers. There should be a status column over here. There is a status column over here. For HTTP, if you got 200, means it is okay. It is okay. If it is other than 200, then it is, we didn't get a valid, we didn't get a response from that location itself, from the endpoint itself. Like, let's assume that this CDINE is not up and running. This web service is not up and running. They brought down this service for some maintenance today late in the night. Every week or every month they do some maintenance. Now, when that service got down for maintenance, for upgrading or for anything, and when you try to send a request, you get a status code of 500. 500. When you get a status code of 500, you will not be able to see the response details. You will not be able to see the response. Means you are not getting a response. If you don't see the response over here, click on the headers tab and see what is the status that you are getting it. If you are getting 200 but you are not getting a response, means there is some problem with the request that you are sending it. The request that you are sending it. For example, let's do some XYZ. See, 500. 500. I didn't get a response over here. In XML, server was unable to process request. Server was up and running, but you have provided some invalid value. That's why you got 500. If you provide a valid value in Facebook, 200. Clear about the status codes? If it is other than 200, you need to troubleshoot why we are getting other than 200. If we are getting 500, means the service is up and running, means you have some issues with sending out the request. Here we are working on a simple request which has only one value that you are providing it. There might be a huge web service request where you need to provide 10 to 15 values. So you have to make sure that whatever the test data that you are providing is the accurate one. Okay, so when you provide it and you're not getting a response here, then you have to troubleshoot whether you are providing the correct values or not, if there is an application bug. Let's assume XYZ is a valid one. XYZ is a valid one. This is valid stock symbol. Let's assume for a few minutes. For a few minutes, it's a valid stock symbol. And when you provide it, we should get a value for this one, XYZ stock value. But if you are not getting it, means there is an application bug. Then you have to create a defect to the application team saying that XYZ is a valid stock company, but we are not getting a response for this one at the service layer. So if you provide a valid phone number, mobile number here, mobile number, but you got a response as no, then it is a issue. Then it's an application issue. You will be creating a defect in Quality Center or Jira or wherever it is. That's how a web service testing would be performed. You have to look for the response in it. Based on the response, you have to make sure whether we are getting the correct response or not. If you are not getting the correct response, is there any problem with the submitting the request? If the request is also seems to fine, but you are not getting a valid response, means then it's an application issue. Clear? How do we deal with the web services part?
So if it's more than 200 then?
More than 500 is more than 200, right?
Yes.
So it means what I'm trying to say, apart from 200, apart from 200 is a valid status code. 200 is a successful status code. 200 is a successful status code. If you are not getting 200, if you are getting any other status code, if it is any other status code here, you have to take a look at that status code and come to a conclusion, and based on that conclusion you have either to create a ticket or you have to provide the correct details in the request. Clear? Clear how we deal with the service layer testing manually?
Yeah.
Okay.
For me, a get code is red and it says XPath match failed. So I guess somebody.
Yeah, I've deleted it. So delete that session, but I just want to tell you like how we do this validation. So when I did this one, I can continue over there for a few minutes and then we can come over back. So when I created a session here, add a session here, okay. Now XPath match, click on OK. Select, sorry, this is for XYZ, right? Cancel. Microsoft XPath match, click on OK. Company name, click on OK. Microsoft, click save. Okay, so when I added it, this one, every other time when I run it, it is validating whether my company name in the response is Microsoft Corporation or not. Microsoft Corporation or not. So when I run it again, so I'll close it, I'll save it before closing it. Okay, I'll close this one. I'll open it again. Okay, now I'll run it one more time. So when I run it one more time, I get this response. And when it got response, it is directly showing the response over here. The assertion is marked as green. Marked as green. Green means it is successfully validated the response for the Microsoft. Because you are saying that in the response I need to have the company name as Microsoft. Let's assume that I provide Facebook here. When I run it, now it is failed. Now it is failed because in the assertion you are matching the, what is the company name you are matching? Microsoft. But what is the company name you are getting here? Facebook. So in the response it is taking the Facebook, but in the XPath match you said that I need to validate with Microsoft. So it is not matching with the response with the value that you have provided.
But the value in that XPath match is coming from that first run, right? First time when we ran the request.
Yeah, so I'll remove it once again. Let's dive into further into this one. How is XPath is getting the value is getting it? Click on add XPath match. Click on OK. This is the window we got it. Clear until now? Select this icon. When I select this icon, okay, when I select this icon, so it says, see that small pop-up that comes up? Select node to validate from the current message. That's the pop-up I'm getting, small pop-up. If you see that one beside, select node to validate from the current message. The current message here is Facebook message response. Previously it was Microsoft. So select that one. So from the message, whatever the message that I have it, get that one. From that message, I'm selecting the company name. I'm selecting the company name. When I select the company name, click on OK. The value we got it as Facebook. So from the current message, you got the value as Facebook. Save it. And now run it. Now it will fast. But if I change it to MSFT now, what do we have it in the assertion panel? We have a Facebook. Now when I execute this test case, it will get the company name in this rightmost pan as a Microsoft. That Microsoft value is not compared with the assertion value that you have provided in the panel. So click on run it now. It will fail. So double click here. If you want to run it for every other time, you have to change it to whatever the value that you have it. What is this one? Microsoft Corporation, right? So go back here. Microsoft Corporation. Save it. Now it turned to green now. Run it. So this window, I'll remove it again. It is helping you to get the value from the current message to this window. It's not dynamic. It is a static for that request. So when you change your company name, a different company name, the value doesn't get changed over here. This you are selecting based on the response that you are getting it from here. So these are all the things that are provided in the professional version only. This is there when you select this one, but this XPath window that you are getting it, this is only available in the professional version, where the user has the flexibility to select anything. Stock symbol. I can select the stock symbol. I can select the company name. I can select the anything like these are the standard values. Okay, stock symbol, or you can select the last trade amount. You can select anything. But while I'm selecting that node, take a look at closed. Look at this one. Stock symbol. When I select this one, and when I change it to company name, put an eye on this window, this bottom window. Okay, this one I'm talking about. When I change it to company name, that's get changed, right? This get changed. This get changed, right? So if I select the stock symbol, this is what the actual code that has been executed behind to get the value. To get the value, select OK. Now it is MSFT. So it is going to the XML response and it is getting the value that is required for you from the response. So it is executing in the background, it is executing it. This is the code that is being executed. This code is called XPath code. XPath code. So in the professional tool, you have the option to select from this window, but this window will not be available in the open source tool. We have to write this code, whatever this code that comes over here. Click on OK. So this code is there, right? You have to write it here. Let me do it one more time further. If I do stock symbol, if I do the stock symbol and click on OK, see what it is saying. Declare namespace. So it is declaring some namespace. It is assigning NS1 to some value, http cdyn.com. cdyn.com. Within that cdyn, it is navigating. It is navigating. It is navigating. How is it navigating? I have to get the get quote response of the first child. Within that first, I need to get the get quote result of the first item. Within that quote result, I have to get the stock symbol of 1. Let's see how exactly these things are coming up. I'll copy this one.
In professional, this code is auto-generated.
Yes.
Yeah.
In professional, this is the utility. These are the utilities provided in this professional version of it. If you work on the open source, like in my project, you don't have the professional version. We have to work with this XPath matches. But if other companies have the professional tools, no need to worry about this one. So you have this one now. Now let me close it, this one. Save it. So click on the XML. Okay. Click on the XML. I don't know if I can make it a bigger one. Let me save it. Give me a second. So this is the response that I got it. Okay, so on this XML I have to work to get that required value. So what did I have provided? This is the code that got generated. This is the code that got generated, or this is the code that we have to write it from this response. So this is the response. I got it. Now from this response, I have to write this code to get that value of stock symbol. How am I getting it? http cdyn.com. Where is that? http cdyn.com. http cdyn.com in the response. I am assigning that http cdyn.com to a value called as a ns1. ns1. We call it as namespace in XML. We call it as namespace in XML. Namespace ns1. So what? Don't get confused. It's not something rocket science. It's just a simple assignments or assigning values. From the response. So it's always I would always follow like this. It's always that reverse engineering procedure. We call it as. Based on the result that I get it, I work in a reverse engineering mode to build up this particular code. I don't build up right from the scratch. First I try to execute it, the response, and I'll do some trial and error basis because I'm not an expert in XPath, I'm not an expert in XML. So I'll do some trial and error basis to come up with this particular code if I don't have the professional version. So what this code, how is this code is getting generated is cdyn.com. I'm assigning some to a variable called as ns1. We have to mention it as a namespace in XML. That's a syntax that you have to learn about it. To declare a variable, we call it as varchar x or varchar of x of 10 in SQL. So varchar is a variable, right? Defining a variable in a SQL language. In XML language, you have to say that it's a declared namespace. Namespace is something that you have to provide as a syntax to define it as a variable. So ns1, that variable is getting the value as cdine.com. So as soon as I declare a namespace, assume it as a pointer, arrow mark, pointer. My pointer is here. My pointer is here. This statement will tell you that I have assigned my pointer on this response here. Here. So my arrow mark or my pointer is here. Now from here I need to navigate down to go to the child nodes. How am I going to the child nodes? 2/ is to navigate down. So that's why it is saying 2/. From where? ns1. From here. Because ns1 is assigned to this one. If I provide ns1 as some XML, this value, http w3 org schema instance, my pointer would be somewhere over here. But I'm not saying that my pointer is here. I'm saying that my pointer is here. Because ns1 got assigned the value as cdine.com. So my pointer is here. That's why we say that from ns1, go to get quote response, which is this one. Get quote response. Get quote response. Why we have a brackets of 1? Why we have a sub entry of 1? It is a child entry in this particular body. We can have multiple get quote responses. Get quote responses. You can have another get quote response like this technically. Something like that one. But we here in this response we didn't got it. We didn't got it. So it's a first occurrence of it. So it says that first occurrence.
It's for the first request.
Response in the response in this body in the child in this response first get quote result.
See, if I do Microsoft, it will be 1, Facebook 2.
2. Just in case if I have that option of getting all those details.
Okay.
But here we are not getting it.
You're doing individual.
Individual. So here get quote response of the first. So this is the first. This is the first. / So I'm going to from here I'm navigating to get quote result of 1. From here I'm going to the get quote result, get quote response. This is get quote response. From here I have to go to get quote result, which is this one, get quote result. And within that get quote result I have lots of childs. I have lot of children. I have a stock symbol as one child. I have last trade amount as another child. Which one I have to get it? Which one I have to get it? I have to get the stock symbol. Stock symbol. So that's why I'm saying that ns1 : stock symbol of 1. If I want to get the company name, instead of stock symbol, I have to type in here as company name of 1. Company name of 1. What effectively we are doing here is we are establishing a pointer over here cdine.com. From here we are navigating to get quote response. From here we are navigating to get quote result to the upper one. Here I have to figure out what are my children's. The children is company name. This is how you have to work if you don't have the professional version. Okay. In Krishna training there is no video that explains over here because they say that it's a little bit technical. But For you people, if you want to learn it, try to take a learn how we are doing it here. If you practice it multiple times on W3 schools, you should be able to figure that out. So go over here, again double click here. Here the stock symbol, right? Instead of stock symbol, if I write, what was that one? Company name. Let me copy it. Company name. Select from. So I've changed this one. Select from test. See, the value got changed. Microsoft Corporation. So if we don't have the professional version, we will be working on this small window, small panel over here to get the value that we want to have it. So we'll be working. This is called XPath. I'll stop it here. I don't want you people to get frightened over there. So let's work with this professional version. Try get hands-on, get a thorough understanding of it with this whatever we are working. Then when you have some time, get onto this XPath. Don't get involved in a lot of things and get lost over there. So don't worry about this one for now. I'm just giving you as a heads up. This is how the people would be working if you don't have a professional version. For now, what I want you people to do is delete this one. I'll say this one, remove it, add it, select the XPath match, click on OK, declare it here, whatever the value that you want to select it, select that one, click on OK, you'll get the value. If it is a Facebook, just change this value to the Facebook, save it, and execute for the Facebook. I don't know if it is a Facebook. If I want to execute for Facebook, just change it to Facebook here. Before executing, you have to comment. Before executing it, you have to come over here. Why is it not there? Declare it. Company name, click on OK, save it. Okay, now this is for Microsoft. Now next time I want to run it for Facebook. So you have to come over here, change it to Facebook, save it, get the value as Facebook here, and run it. It is passed. So that's how you are making sure that whatever the request that you are sending it, you are seeing it as it is coming for the Facebook. You can validate for the value also. Like double click it here. This whatever the value is there, right? Last traded amount. You can do this one because that's the value that you are seeing right now in the Google Finance 104.07. But if you are executing on a daily basis, like during your data time, Monday to Friday, weekdays, the value keeps on getting changed for every second, right? So in the morning, if you see it is 101, or in the afternoon, if you change it. So your validation assertion would always fail. It is not sticking to that value, 104. So you have to make sure that what is the correct value that I need to take from a response so that it is a valid one for me. So that's why I took in something. Stock symbol, I cannot take it because that's the one that I'm providing it in my request. I don't want to validate the same thing. I want to validate some other value from the response. I can validate the amount value if it is on a weekend because the value will not be changed. But during the weekdays, I cannot do it because the stock market would be live and value will get changed every milliseconds, right? So I cannot depend on that value. So what is the static value that can be relied upon? Facebook, we know that it is for the Facebook. The company name is the Facebook. If I provide FB and if I get company name as Microsoft, that's a wrong one, right? So it always have to be Facebook. FB stands for the Facebook. So that's the one that I am checking it. That's the one that I can rely upon whether whatever the response that I am getting it is a valid one or not. Clear what I'm trying to say here? From the response, you have to pick up the actual node or the child that you can rely upon for any times that you want to execute it. If I execute it on the last traded amount, that is not a valid one for me. I can use it, but every other time if you execute it, it will fail because the amount is keep on getting changed. So I'm using the company name as a valid criteria for my assertion. So click on OK, save it. Now if I want to run it for Microsoft, come over here. Let's see Apple. If I say save it here and give Apple run it, it is also failed because see, license exceeded. License exceeded means because the CDIN has stopped giving responses for us, because I've been working from last 30 or 40 minutes with this web service. So CDIN, they give you this access for some time only when you start working on it. Once you have license exceeded, once you are out of it, it says that you are not getting the value.
Then the license key is for the CDIN.
CDIN. Company name, license exceeded.
Because it's giving us free access for some free access.
You're not getting the value.
Default license. We have paid money to CDIN. We have free license.
Is this for the license key for the CDIN?
It has to be, right? Because this license key field is coming from their XSD.
Yeah.
So it cannot be so clear, right? You said, right, CDIN services is a paid service.
Paid service.
So when we get a service from them, I think like we pay for the license from CDIN and that license key will have to show.
But Krishna must have paid them, right? For
Yeah,
whatever
Krishna
the-
must have paid it from that.
Yeah.
W3 schools.
Because it must be like 25 requests at one.
So it doesn't matter if you work in an item one, you have to do the context.
Probably taking some default license fee for like half an hour. To give them a free.
Or it might be a free one.
One second, guys.
Guys, I would like to know the feedback from the training today. How we did in this almost 50 classes that we completed.
Okay, let's work on this one. Another one. Let's see whether we are getting the license key or not. W3 schools XML. I'm taking a WSDL from the W3. I'm working on another one. Okay, W3 schools, which is temperature conversion from Fahrenheit to Celsius or Celsius to Fahrenheit. Okay, I'm taking that WSDL, creating a project. New project. H182 temperature conversion. Save the WSDL. Create a sample request for all operations. Create a test suite for imported WSDL. Click on OK. So click on OK, 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 and delete this 1, 2. See, here also we have this license key. Okay, don't worry about that one. I'll come back to that one later. Okay, so open one of the Celsius to Fahrenheit. Celsius to Fahrenheit. I'll close this one. Get code. Celsius to Fahrenheit. We don't have a form for this one. Okay.
You have to open the other one, right? The form. The request, the operation.
No, it would be the same thing also, right? Here also you will get that form. They didn't build a form for here. Let's give it some value, some 30. Run it. Is it running? Bad request. Celsius. What do we need to give the Celsius? It's a bad request, so something I have to provide it. I don't know what to provide it here. What is that request I have to provide it? W3 schools, temp conversion, sample requests. It's not opening. Did the testing for this one? 498 Celsius to 498. $86. And why is it not coming? 30. What is the request here? 30.
Krishna training itself has another WSDL.
Yeah, it has it.
Yeah, it's one more.
Let me try. I don't know why it's not working here. Give me a second. It's still getting nice and succeed.
Postal codes and cities.
Which one?
There's one more, right? WSDL for postal codes and cities.
Yeah, it's again goes to the CDIN, I guess,
Oh,
the US postal code. No, this should work actually. Why it's not working? I'm just trying to find out. Celsius. What should I give it?